Good morning, everyone. I hope you are doing well today. Happy Saturday and happy Easter. Hopefully you're having a good Easter weekend. Just gonna pause for a second here while I get to my Facebook page and make sure that the live stream is working. One moment. Sometimes Tofino internet is not the fastest internet. Okay, there we are. Okay, good morning again. I hope wherever you are having a good weekend and maybe have some plans for Easter. I know we can't really get together yet, but hopefully you're able to celebrate with somebody near you. So today we're going to make a couple of cards with the Oval Occasions stamp set, which is this one here. I really like this. I think it's so cute. And I think this one is going to be retiring once the mini catalog is done in June. So if you like this one, you might want to grab it. I don't have a retiring list yet for that catalog, but I suspect this one will be on that retiring list when it does come out. So you might want to have a look at that if you like it. Anyway, we'll be using that set today and making a couple of cards. And since it's Easter, I thought we might as well use some bunnies because they're terribly cute. So this is the first card we're going to be making. I will say I'm a bit of a minimalist, so I tend to make pretty simple cards, but you could easily add more to this one if you wanted. You could add more of these pearls or add some more, you could add some of these flowers or hearts or something if you did want to add more. Myself, I just like, because this designer paper has this metallic pattern on it, I actually liked it just like this, kind of plain, but your card. So if you want to add more, you go ahead and add more. So for that, we are going to need soft suede cardstock at 8.5 by 5.5 and scored in the middle. And I'm going to fold that over right now. So I'm going to fold that in half, use the bone folder to get a nice firm crease on the side. There's that. You're going to need a piece of very vanilla that is 5 1/4 by 4, and that's going to go on the inside of the card. There is another piece of vanilla, and I forgot to bring my paper with measurements. So this one is 4 inches across by 2 5/8 inches high, and you actually have 2 of these pieces that are exactly the same size. So 2 pieces of very vanilla that are the 4 inches by 2 5/8 inches. And then one more little piece of vanilla that is 2.5 inches by 1.5 inches. Sorry, get my sleeves out of the way a little bit here. There we go. You will need another small piece of the soft suede cardstock. And this one is 2 3/4 inches by 1 3/4 inches. This is going to end up being our oval layers on the front. And I've got 2 pieces of the Love You Always designer paper. And this is another item that I suspect will retire once we get that retiring list. I love this paper. There's 3 colors. So this is Rococo Rose. This is Sahara Sand, and there's also Blushing Bride. And I really like this. It originally came, or currently is, in the suite with sort of Valentine theme to it, but you can use this on any card. Anyway, so I've got the 2 pieces in the 2 different colors, and those are 3 7/8 across by 2.5 high. You will also need, obviously, the Oval Occasion stamp set, some black ink to stamp this image. And I use soft suede ink inside here, but I think I forgot to put that on the supply list. So if you don't have that, don't worry, you can just use black ink inside there as well. We're going to use some markers to color inside there and some markers to color here. And we're going to use the pearl jewels on there. And of course you need some adhesive. Excuse me. Oh, and yes, the oval, I use the layering ovals dies. This stamp set comes in a bundle with an oval punch. And if you have that punch, it's designed to cut these out and give you perfectly sized layers. If you happen to not have that, that's okay. I use the layering ovals dies. So that's what I'm going to be using today. All right, set those over there. So where do we want to start? I think we will start with our bunnies. So we're going to need a stamp with the bunnies and my stamping block and my black Memento ink, which I actually remembered to re-ink this week after weeks of having that kind of faded black ink. I finally managed or remembered to put re-inker on here. So there we go. And we'll stamp that. The lid back on that one. Clean the stamp. Excuse me. Okay, so to color this guy in, I've got my subtles markers, and I used Pear Pizzazz for the leaves, and then I used So Saffron. So these leaves here are Pear Pizzazz. I used So Saffron in the center of the flowers, and then I used Blushing Bride on the flowers. And then the bunnies, I've got my soft suede Stampin' blends, and I'm not actually going to blend these together. I'm going to use the dark one on one of the bunnies and the light one on the other bunny. And then I also used Petal Pink for the bunny's ears and tails. So let's get coloring. And add a bit. I'm using the thin end of the markers. It's kind of like a ballpoint pen, just because I'm coloring in small areas. So I find that a little easier. The center of the flowers. If you don't have these markers or happen to not like these colors I've chosen, go ahead and use what you've got or what you prefer. And use the thicker end for the flowers here. Get these flower petals colored. There, and next flower. There. And then the bunnies. I've got the light Stampin' Blends marker, and I'm going to use that on the big bunny. And you need a really light touch with these blends. They're an alcohol-based marker, and they color really, really well and really, really easily. So you don't need to press at all. You're basically just skimming it over the cardstock. Get the dark one for the little bunny. Don't worry that it looks really dark. It'll dry a tiny bit lighter. So you'll be able to actually see your bunny's face. Get him colored in. There we go. And I know in real life that bunnies don't necessarily have pink ears and tails, but I really wanted pink ears and tails on my bunnies. So that's what I'm doing with the Petal Pink marker. Color that guy and that guy. Or maybe they're girls. I don't know. Could be either. All right. And I'm going to get my layering ovals dies. And excuse me 1 second. I just need to double check because I neglected to see which ones I used. So, okay. So in these dies, so to cut out the bunnies in this set of 4 here, I'm using this second one. So this is the one I'm using to cut out the bunnies here. And get my platform for my die cutting. This guy, and actually we can cut our soft suede oval at the same time. Again, let me just double check which one I used, and then I will show you. Yes, good. Again, this right-hand set, I'm using the second one. So we use the second one from here for the bunnies, and we're using the second one from here for the soft suede layer that's going behind the bunnies. Okay, and make sure you put these so this ridge is down, because that's what cuts the cardstock. I'm going to set this over here and then make sure that I want to make sure that my plain oval is lined up where I want it to cut out the bunnies, how I want them to look. And a scalloped oval can just be centered on the soft suede. As long as it's all on the cardstock, it doesn't really matter for that one. We'll run that through the machine. Okay. Set that die back over there. Put that piece aside. There's our soft suede layer. Put that die over there. Chuck that, and there is our bunnies. Okay, I'm just gonna put my dies back in their package here. And maybe, there we go. Set that aside. Okay, so for these guys, I use the Stampin' seal to adhere the bunnies to the soft suede layer. Let's get the adhesive started there. And I just kind of went on either end and down the middle. And then we're gonna just center, brush those bits of cardstock off, center the vanilla oval on the soft suede oval. So I just have to pull it closer to myself. I apologize if I'm too far down with it. Just want to try and get it as close to centered as possible. All right, so there is our bunnies on their oval, and we'll set those guys aside for just a minute. So now we need our 2 pieces of designer paper and our 2 pieces of identical sized vanilla rectangles. And we're just going to stick the designer paper on the vanilla. Just apply some adhesive here, like so. And get this so it is at least somewhat centered. Approximately, at least. I never get it exactly centered, but at least close. There. And we'll do the same with the Sahara sand piece of designer paper. Adhesive all the way around. And get this stuck to the other piece of the very vanilla. And try and center it-ish. And that's not very well centered. Okay, I'm just going to pull this off gently, maybe. Nope, doesn't want to pull off today. Well, that one's going to be off center. And that's just the way it is. It's a homemade card. So these ones are going to get stuck to the soft suede base. And so I just kind of I just set them approximately where I want them so that there's kind of an even border. And then I'm going to take the one and put adhesive on the back of that. And I'm leaving this one here so that I can get my spacing right when I put this one back. And this one doesn't really matter which way up it is. It's whatever way you feel like having it. And get this back here, like so. Hey, I think that's almost straight. And then we'll put the adhesive on that one. And if I'm going too fast, just leave me a comment. I will slow down, or I can go back over something if you missed it. Try not to go too fast, but I do have a habit of speeding up a bit. I'll put this one on there. Okay, and then we're going to take our bunnies, and these guys I put on dimensionals. Put a couple dimensionals. I'm going to put one in the middle as well. There we are. Take the backing off of these. And our bunnies are going to go centered-ish on the card here. Okay, and then I'm going to do the inside. So on this one, as I say, I use the soft suede, but I think I forgot to put that on your supply list. So if you don't have it, just use the black ink again. And I'm going to stamp the flowers, these guys here. If I can find them, there they are. Take the bunnies off my stamping block and put the flowers on my stamping block. My soft suede ink. Maybe. There we go. Just going to push that up a bit and bring in. So this is the 5 1/4 by 4 piece of vanilla. It's going to go on the inside. And get some ink on the stamp there. Oh, I got a bit, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a bit on the edge of the stamp. I just use my thumb to rub that off. There we go. Put that one down like so. Bit more ink. And I'm going to kind of tuck the end of this under the other one. Like so. Clean off the stamp. I don't know why, but it cracks me up every time when my Stampin' Chamois squeaks when I clean the stamp. Apparently, I am easily amused. Okay. Put those flowers back in the stamp case. Set my block aside, and then open that up so you can see it. I just colored these again with the markers. So again, the pear pizzazz for the leaves. And there's a few more leaves on this one than there was on the bunny stamp. So I'm just gonna get all of these. And I colored both stamps exactly the same. But again, if you want to do it a bit differently, you go ahead. All these leaves. There, one more. Okay, and so saffron in the center of this little flower. And let me hold this up so you can see a little better. So this little flower here, I did the center in So Saffron, and then this large flower, I did the whole thing in So Saffron. So do the center of these, and then I'm going to switch to the thicker end of my marker to do this big flower. That colored in. Like that. And then I've got my, somewhere, petal pink. And I did this little one that looks kind of like a tulip I did in the petal pink. Actually, I think I'll use the thick end on that. There. And then the blushing bride to do this little flower here. Color that guy in, and the one down here. There we are. And then we're just going to flip that over and apply our Stampin' Seal adhesive all the way around that. There. And then we'll get this one that we just put together. I'm going to put the vanilla on the inside of this one. Again, centered-ish. There. And then the last step for this card is to add just a little bit of bling. And I've got some of the pearl basic jewels. And I just put a couple of those on each of the designer paper sections. kind of like so. Wherever you want to put them is fine. And as I said earlier, if this seems a little too plain to you, because I am a bit of a minimalist, I know some folks like a little more, you go ahead, add more pearls or whatever you like, but this appeals to my minimalist nature. So there is our little bunny card. And I didn't put a sentiment on this because this really can be used for anything. So at some point, if you wanted, you could, add a sentiment up here, or you can just write a message inside and use it for whatever occasion you need it for. So that's our bunnies. And I apologize if you can hear the phone ringing. Hopefully it will stop in a moment. All right, so the second card we're going to make today is this one. And I realize that there's no ovals on this card, but this is still from the Oval Occasions stamp set. So we've got our supplies here. This is our basic white, and you can probably hear my answering machine, sorry. I'm just going to wait a second for that to finish. Hopefully they hang up. Apparently I need to turn that off when I'm doing my videos. And I have library books in. All right, sorry. I'm just going to wait a second until the library finishes talking. I have library books in, not that you all needed to know that, but now you all know it anyway. Okay, so back to this. So I've got basic white, and this is 8.5 by 5.5 scored in the middle. And I'm going to fold that over and use my bone folder to get the crease nice and firm on the side there. Excuse me. I have got another piece of basic white that is 5.5 inches by 2.25 inches. And I've got a piece of garden green that's just a smidge bigger. That's, well, it's 5.5 still this way. So yes, these two are the same size this way. They're both 5.5, but the white is 2.25 high and the garden green is 2.5 high. So they're the same width, but the green's a little wider. And another piece of the white that is 2.25 across by 1.5 high. I've got a piece of Forever Greenery Designer Series paper. I love this paper. And this is retiring. Actually, I didn't check this morning. I know it's very popular. So if you'd like this, go have a look. Don't know if it's sold out yet, but if not, it will be very, very soon. So if you love this Forever Greenery designer paper like I do, go grab it before it's too late. And this is 5.25 by 4 inches. And last but not least, the Forever Gold specialty paper, which also is retiring. I love these gold elements. There's a bunch of pre-cut elements. And today we're going to use this rectangle with the leaves at either side. All right, so I think I will again start with the sentiment. So we need this small piece of the basic white, our stamp block, and the thank you for your kindness stamp. Here. And our black ink. Ink up the stamp. And we'll stamp this here. There we are. Put the lid back on that, clean the stamp. Okay, and this one, I just colored in the leaves with a garden green marker, just to add a little bit of color to that layer. And again, I use the thin end just because it's a slightly smaller area. Color in these guys. You don't have to color them. If you want to leave it just black and white, you go right ahead. I just liked having this. You can see on this one, there's just a little bit of color there. And the reason I'm doing garden green is because that matches our garden green layer that we're going to have there. And also the garden green is one of the colors in the designer paper. Okay, there is our leaves. And we're going to get, if I can pick it up, our gold square. And I'm just going to use Stampin' Seal on the back of the sentiment. Get that started. Get the adhesive on here, run one down the center. And so the sentiment is just centered on this gold rectangle. There-ish. I know I say ish a lot, but that's because I can never get it straight. Okay, and we're going to set that aside for a moment. We will take our card base and our piece of Greenery designer paper. And this again is just using our regular adhesive. We will put that around. This is a fun pattern on this side too. That would also work. If you don't like the leaves on one side, try flipping it over. And put this on our card front, approximately like so. And then we're going to set that one aside. And so now we need this last remaining piece of white and the piece of the garden green. And we're going to emboss this using the Tasteful Textile embossing folder. And just pull the folder out here. I really like this because it adds a bit of depth to the card, but it's really subtle there. You can kind of see it down here. It's a really subtle effect, but it just adds that little bit of extra. So I'll place that cardstock in there and make sure you don't go all the way to the top. There's just a small gap at the top here on the embossing folder where there isn't pattern. So you don't want your cardstock all the way up there. You want it down just a little bit. I will get my machine ready to go here. Oops. There, and run this through the embossing machine. Okay. Nope, I can't pick it up. There we go. And get our cardstock out of there. So now, sorry, get the sleeves out of the way. Now you can kind of see it better, and you just get this subtle textured effect on there, which I really like. And one side will be kind of raised and one side will be indented. I like using the raised side, but have a look and see which you prefer. I want to use this raised side, so I'm going to put the adhesive on the indented side. And again, we're just using the regular double-sided adhesive for this. And put this. Now your white is going to reach both sides of your green, but you're going to want to try and center it top to bottom. Actually, I think what might be easier is if I get this. So I'm just kind of holding it almost like holding a pen or something. And that way I can line up the white with the edge of the green and make sure it's kind of centered top to bottom. And then lay it down. Oh, that's not quite straight. One more try. And let's try that. Oh, it moved, which, you know, it does from time to time. And there we go. Press that down a little bit. Okay, and now we're going to put adhesive on the back of the green. There, all the way around. And get our card base with our designer paper. And then we're going to center this, and this should meet, hang on one second. There we go. Should meet the edges of the card. One second. There. Okay. Yep. Should meet the edges of the card. And then again, we're going to center it top to bottom. Just adjust that slightly. There. And press that down. And then the last bit for this is we need to adhere our sentiment, and this is again on dimensionals. I'm just going to put them, I'm just putting the dimensionals on the rectangle, and I'm not worrying about the leaves. Take the backing off the dimensionals. Okay, and whoops, this one. And oh, I knew what I forgot. I forgot my champagne rhinestones. I've managed to forget something every single week. It's kind of a thing. So we are going to center that there. And as I say, I forgot my champagne rhinestones in the other room. I'm not going to run and get them right now, but you can see on this sample that I did, I've got a champagne rhinestone up here. I've got one in the corner of the sentiment, and I've got another one down here. So that's what I use to add the little bit of bling. The really funny part is I even double checked my list of supplies and still managed to miss something. It's a talent. Anyway, so there is our Forever Greenery Thank You card. So this is our 2 cards with the Oval Occasions stamp set. And I'm just going to bring the set back over here for a second. I really like this one because you can use it for a variety of things. There's a birthday, there's a welcome little one if somebody has a new baby. Time to celebrate could be birthday, retirement, promotion, anything. Thank you, obviously, a little treat for you could be a just because, or hugs and kisses could be just because. And then this so lucky to know you. If you do think St. Patrick's Day, I realize it was last month, but it's good for that. But it also can just be you're appreciating friendship. And then these little flowers, hearts, and stars. So I actually really like this because it's quite versatile. And if you get it right now before the January to June catalog ends, then you can get this in the bundle with the oval punch. It has one plain oval and one scalloped oval, and it's designed to go with this set. So that's lovely. So again, there's our cards for this week. Thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoy your cards. I haven't actually decided what I'm going to use next week yet. So if you have a request for any particular set or bundle that you would like to see me use, please leave it in the comments. And if I have it, I will use it. Otherwise, I'll just come up with something and I'll post it on Facebook during the week with the supply list as usual. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Easter weekend. Happy Easter again. And I will see everyone next Saturday. Bye.